Hey everyone, welcome to A View from Davos. Daniel Newman here, CEO of the Futurum Group, joined today by Mohamad Ali. Mohamad, welcome to the show. Welcome to Davos.
Thank you, Daniel. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's great to have the chance to sit down with you. We're going to be on a panel this week. And for those watching, we may have already been on a panel. That's the fun thing about video. Timing can always vary a little bit. But first and foremost, how's your week going? What's your big focus this year at Davos?
It's been great. I've gotten a chance to not only meet with clients, but also meet with members of the World Economic Forum community, where the theme is rebuilding trust. And trust is critical to our global world and society, but it's also incredibly important to technology. And one of those technologies that's come fast and furious into our world is Gen AI. And taking Gen AI to the next level, at the heart of that is going to be trusted Gen AI. We refer to it as responsible AI.
That's interesting. I took a big risk ahead of Davos. I did the same thing ahead of CES, and I said, I think I know what one of the most important themes of the event is going to be. I said AI. Remarkably, I think I got it right, but in all seriousness, it is a really big topic, but it's also a really interesting inflection point this year. So 2023, I kind of use the phrase the year of the GPU. So while AI was one of the biggest topics, Mohamad, all year long, it was really a very small subset of companies that were monetizing and making money. A few companies, including IBM, started really talking about how to make money, but there was even fewer number of companies that really made money. The big GPU providers, a few of the large language model creators that had early software releases. But 24, I keep saying, is going to be the year of implementation.
That's right.
Big enhancements of spending. What's your sort of early readout on companies pivoting from kind of proof of concept to we're all in on implementation?
Yeah, it's actually extraordinarily exciting. I think in 2023, a lot of companies ran these pilots and they proved that this thing is going to deliver remarkable value. I think, Arvind's mentioned that at a macro level, there's $4 trillion of value to be had here. And so where's that value coming from? That value is going to be coming from things like productivity gains, revenue enhancement. And these pilots have demonstrated that you can see these benefits before seeing productivity gains of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50%, depending on the use case. And now they're excited. Now they want to take it to production. And I think 2024 is going to be about solving those trust items that are required to take into production. And that's a big part of where we at IBM Consulting have been focused.
Yeah, we're seeing in our own data and intelligence that the expected spend is somewhere around 300% increase in companies making multi-million dollars of investments in implementation. And of course, that looks at the Gambit of small to big. I mean, big companies aren't going to be spending multi-millions. They're going to be spending deca or centa plus millions of dollars. But even small companies, I mean, we've seen, some of the compatible technologies like in productivity, like Office and Copilot coming out with things for SMBs. It's not going to be technology that's only being democratized to the biggest. Yeah, that's part of what's cool about this. Right. Everybody can get involved in generative AI. Yeah. But you mentioned something I think that is really important, and that's trust. And you kind of said they're going to move there, but there's some barriers.
There's some barriers.
Talk about that. What are these barriers that you're seeing? Because I saw, by the way, those POC numbers. I had the chance to talk
pretty good.
I talked to Rob Thomas, Matt Candy on the consulting team.
Right.
And they showed some of the POCs. And I remember taking a picture of the screen and going, Mohamad, I went, gosh, these are some of the best numbers, specific numbers I've seen. Right. Talk about what's stopping them or what they're thinking about before going all in, because the numbers themselves, they look really good.
Yeah, they look extraordinarily good, right? And you're seeing this, like you said, not just the big companies, the small companies, the individuals. I mean, my wife's a professor, and our birth students are using it, right? And across the board, everybody's dealing with the trust issue. How do you trust it at the university level? How do you trust it to do what you want it to do consistently at the large corporate level? So what we're seeing is that many of our clients, and some of them are going to production now, and there are three things that we've had to work with them on in order to get to production, or in order to get them comfortable enough to start the path to production. And those three things are security, governance, and intellectual property. Now, not everyone is going to solve all three of those before they go to production, but it appears that everyone wants to solve at least one of those. So I can talk about each one of those if you'd like.
Yeah, I think it would be good for you to hit on all three of those things because, your theme here, and I had the chance to sit down with Arvind as well, is this trusted AI theme.
That's right.
And I think there's a lot of varying different levels of what trust means, but I think as a whole, the industry and part of what's going on here at Davos and WEF is that there needs to be some consistency in that.
That's right.
Different companies, different things. Are we grounding? What does grounding mean? What is transparency? Can we be transparent? Do we understand what the algorithm does? Is that even possible and how much so? And I don't think everybody really knows all these answers, but I think knowing you're working with a company and, for instance, what you've done with governance and indemnification that says, look, we know how fast this is moving.
Right.
We may get something wrong.
Yeah.
But if we do, we are not going to leave you on an island. We are going to be your partner because we also can't let you fall behind.
Right.
And others are taking advantage of this technology. So, run through the three in more detail.
Let's start with security.
Yep.
So, we did a survey in IBM, and it said that 98% of executives are concerned about security as they deploy Gen AI. But 69% of them are going to go do it anyway because they know how important this innovation is to their company. And if they don't proceed, somebody else will, and it'll damage their business. But they need this secure. And so what IBM's been doing is we've been working with our partners like Palo Alto Networks and others to look at the entire sequence of how the data starts, how it turns into a model, how it gets consumed. And at every step of the way, we're working with our partners and our clients to secure that process, right? Second part of it is governance. You want to know that these models, when you ask it a question, it's going to answer a certain way in a consistent manner, right? You've heard about hallucinations. There are times when it's going to do things that you don't necessarily expect it to do. And so you need a governance module on top of all of that. The good thing is we have had this governance module for a long time because we've been in the AI business for a long time. We have now adapted it to the Gen AI world. Governance. And then the third piece is intellectual property, which you alluded to, right? So if you train the models, these large language models, on everybody's data, then you may end up with an intellectual property problem. And big companies are concerned about this. They don't want to bet their companies on something that's where there's going to be a huge lawsuit down the line. And so one area in particular, code generation, we built a Watson X model based on clean code. And as a result, IBM will indemnify companies that use these particular models that have this characteristic. So now, if you're a large company, a large bank, you use this model, you generate new code, you know that that code is based on indemnified code that built the model, right? So you have some comfort with that. You can now go build the next generation of your products on top of code that came from this model. So these are things that not all of them are solved, and depending on which technologies you're using, some of it is easier to solve and harder to solve, but we're working with all these clients to figure out how to do that so they can go to production.
Yeah, and end-to-end model is also very important. Something else our data said, which your three items from what's stopping you, slowing you down, it's also kind of trying to figure out and get the signal and noise. Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of, every company last year kind of said, we've got a Gen AI story and you've got to buy it from us. And whether it was going to the public markets and trying to say, we're an AI company, but nobody could understand how you're monetizing AI, all the way down to, are you using AI in the business? Yeah. But our data really said, Mohamad, that companies want two things out of their service provider. And in fact, it also said that people are going to be kind of moving or more fickle with service providers right now because they're looking for one competency, meaning, just because AI has become available does the SI, the partner that you're going to have implementing in your company really know what they're doing?
Right.
And then two is how fast.
Yeah.
Because for the same reasons we want to do AI, we want our AI providers like, if you can't do it fast and efficiently, are we using are we kind of using the tools that are supposed to enable us? So we've got just a minute here, Mohamad. I'd love to ask you one last question, and that's how fast does this go from here? I kind of alluded to 23 being all about the big infrastructure and 24 being all about POC to implementation. I mean, is this a exponential curve? Is it linear?
Yeah.
You're talking to tons of customers. How fast does it get from where we are to companies like really running AI at scale in their businesses?
I think it's going to go pretty fast. I think those companies that do solve this security, governance, intellectual issue are going to then move extraordinarily quickly. I think others are going to realize, we have a problem, and they're going to stall. And during that period of time, they're going to go looking to solve these three problems. But I'll give you an example of a client that is really moving ahead, and that's Dun & Bradstreet. So we've spent, we have announced a project with them where we're taking a pilot to production. And it's in two categories. The first is making the company more efficient, its business processes, and applying Gen AI technologies to improving that. The second is actually building brand new products that doesn't exist and can't exist today because are before Gen AI. And so one of those products, Dun & Bradstreet, has a ton of data, including a ton of buying data. And so they're going to build a Gen AI powered product called Ask Procurement that they can then sell to companies, and companies can use Ask Procurement to optimize their own spend. It's a brand new product. We're helping them build a new product for their business and to take to market. So it's exciting. Companies like that who are addressing the trust issue up front, I think are going to scale fast.
Mohamad, thanks so much for sitting down with me.
This is great. Thank you.